You have to be the best version of yourself, and that's when you're going to play the best. Right? And that's what I did probably through 90% of my career. I never tried to come off of who I was. I made it to the major leagues. I tell this to every single guy I train and is obsessed with power. I didn't hit a single home run in college. Think about that. Metal bats, never hit a home run in college, and I made it to the major leagues.
Most players think they're overlooked, but they're really underdeveloped. Everyone wants to be discovered, but nobody wants to be disciplined. Baseball doesn't care about your followers, your stars, or your hype. It cares about whether you can compete when nobody's watching. Today's guest is Zack, Granite, a dude who had every reason to quit. Guy was too small, he was overlooked, he was written off, and he still made it to the big leagues because this guy mastered the one thing that young players are ignoring right now: the fundamentals. This episode is about how the nobodies make it and what every player needs to understand before it's too late. Zack, I appreciate you being here, bro. The reality of being undersized, underscouted, and undervalued, dude, can feel like you're an absolute nobody in a world of flashiness. For me, I learned pretty early that it was about dialing it in on the controllables and locking in there if I was ever going to maximize my career, dude. How did being overlooked fuel you? Did it break you at all? Was it early on? Was it later in the career, bro? Like, walk me through that.
So I think for me, it was more just play your game. Like, I couldn't care less about anybody else, as selfish as that sounds. And I think baseball, you need to be like that. You need to be selfish when it comes to your game. And, guys like us, the small ball type, there wasn't many of us. So for me, it was easy to stick out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was never trying to hit a home run. I didn't care. Like, it wasn't like, even when, the metrics weren't really huge with us. I know even in college baseball, the metrics weren't big, right? Like, I didn't know my exit velocity when I was in college, right? Like, I didn't know my exit velocity when even in my first couple of years of pro ball. Like, it just wasn't a thing. And then you kind of see like the shift started kind of going more towards the later on of our careers. But for me, it was, I know my value. My value is getting on base so the 2, 3, 4 hitters can drive me in. My value was run scoring. You're either a run producer or you're a run scorer. As an offensive player, that's the only two ways to provide value. I couldn't care less anybody's exit velocity. 110 ground ball to the shortstop means nothing, right? I'll take the 62 over the shortstop's head every day of the week, right? Because
Yeah.
that's, at the end of the day, my value comes from being on base. My value doesn't come from that. So I think everybody needs to understand their own value and make it into their own, right?
What's going on, guys? I wanted to interrupt real quick to bring attention to a financial literacy piece that is a must have for you in your baseball career, or your son's baseball career, or your player's baseball career. This is called the Money Playbook. So, this teaches financial concepts and gives financial literacy and financial topics to baseball players and athletes, whether you are a professional, whether you are a college athlete, a student athlete. Man, nowadays we understand that NIL money is prevalent. NIL deals allow baseball players, allow college athletes to use their name, image, and likeness in order to get paid. We know that college scholarships are increasing, and roster limits are being tinkered with, and there is money in today's game, in today's landscape of college athletics. So check this book out, The Money Playbook. Go check it out over on Amazon. It's got 20 plus 5-star reviews. Check out the names in those reviews, man. They're by dudes. They're by people who are actually getting something out of this. I've read through it. I learned a whole lot. Some of these things that I was reading and learning about in this book, I didn't find out or know that I needed until my career was over. The landscape of college baseball and the landscape of amateur athletics is changing, and it is financial literacy is prevalent and can only help your overall development in the game. Go check it out.
Like, I tell guys all the time, being a baseball player is kind of like singing an American Idol, right? It's somebody else's song. You're not reinventing the game, but you have to make it your own beat. And to me, was the most important thing. And I used to beat to my own drum, and I didn't care.
Dude, I love that, man. I love that. Throughout the grind of high school, college, the minor leagues, getting to the big leagues, man, there was a difference for me in trying to be seen and then trying to actually like take it and earn it, man. I saw guys go through high school, through college, get opportunities and then kind of fizzle out, man. And we talk about the fundamentals, right, at an elementary level, and we talk about high numbers of reps to build those fundamentals, and then we start getting to the big leagues or we start getting to the minor leagues, dude, and we start talking about like the quality of reps and being able to sharpen the sword a little bit, dude. Being like a small guy, undervalued, bro, we try to maximize our careers by being the best that we can be. For me, bro, I was trying to do a whole lot of stuff. I was trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, dude. I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. I was trying to chase those metrics. I was trying to be like everybody else, right? The guys that were getting these opportunities over me. There was a difference between me like wanting to be seen and then me actually earning it, dude. We were able to get to the big leagues doing the little things, bro. Bunting, running the ball down out in the outfield, bro. That's how we ended up being trusted. I feel like I was able to grasp that towards the back end of my career when I was like propelled a little forward quicker, if that makes sense, through like double A, triple A, the big leagues, man. But I didn't understand that early in my career. What do you see now with like younger players who completely miss out on what gets you to the next level, dude? What are you seeing now?
I think the biggest thing that's missing nowadays is the IQ part, and the reason I say that is because everything's on social media now, right? So like, what are all
Mm,
these kids seeing? They're seeing home runs, they're seeing Otani, they're seeing Judge, fantastic
that's
players. I'll
right.
never take anything away from them, but to me, they're freak athletes. Like you can't beat genetics, right? Aaron Judge is 6'7". If you're 5'9", 5'10", like me, like you can't play that same game, right? Like you have to play like the Ernie Clement, like just guys that you have to watch guys that play like you. So for me growing up, my favorite players, Brett Gardner, Bernie Williams, right? Like I watched center fielders like that because I knew like that was going to be me one day, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to be, and that's exactly what I molded my career after was a guy like Brett Gardner. Like I loved him, like just watching him slap the ball the other way. And Brett could leave the yard too. He's done it, but to me, when I used to watch him play, I used to be like, man, that could literally be me. Like I I love Aaron Judge. I've met him. I've played with him in spring training. Probably the coolest guy. Like one of the coolest guys too. I can't even me and him completely different. Like when it comes to baseball, he's trying to hit the ball in the air, and I can't do that. I just can't because I
Mm,
know like I can't hit the ball out the other way or to center field like he can. So like I had to find my way, and I think what's missing, you say, is guys don't watch the game enough and follow guys that resemble their own game. To me, that's the
mm.
missing piece because it's quick, right? Games are 3 hours long. The attention span of kids nowadays with social media is smaller, so they're not going to sit through a whole game. Why would you through your whole game when you got one of these, right? Like you take your eyes off it. Like to me, when I was younger, I don't know about you, Ian, but like it was either you were watching the Yankees or you were listening to it on the radio if you were in the car. Like
Mm.
there was no music. Like there was it was more like, hey, the Yankees on. We're gonna listen to it or we're gonna watch it, and that's what we did. Like and growing up in New York from in the '90s. I mean, '90s and early 2000s, Yankees were fun to watch.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they put the ball in play a lot. They had some studs like Derek Jeter. Like, are you kidding me? Hit inside outing the baseball. Like think about it. The two guys that I loved the most were Derek Jeter and Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner fast, slapped the ball the other way. Jeter, one of the best contact hitters of all time. That's who I resembled my game after. Like that's it.
Absolute. Those guys were hungry, right? They played the game the right way, dude. They were able to do things consistently on the baseball field that maybe other people couldn't do, man. But they also were able to handle the bat. They were also able to do the little things right. They were able to get on, get them over, dude, get them in, right? They also played the game, like I said, the right way, bro. They were hungry. You can't fake hunger. That
No.
stuff obviously like shows up and it shows in you how you move, even when dude, there's 30,000 fans even when nobody's watching you, right? And so, dude, I feel like I was able to separate myself against everybody else because, I mean, for lack of a better term, dude, I was playing a different game, right? So we talk about that game within the game and trying to master those fundamentals, dude. So we are underdogs. We are the low man on the totem pole. We're overlooked. We're getting passed by everybody else. They're getting opportunities over us, dude. Leaving the yard sexy. I get it. But like, I feel like you and I were chasing mastery, dude. We were chasing a different, like, we were chasing different shit, dude. We were chasing a different type of game almost. And everybody now is starting to chase metrics, right? They need to like hit a certain number, get the launch exit, velo, like all this stuff, dude. What do you got on that, bro? What's a boring skill that you were able to master to get you to the big leagues?
Well, I think you said it perfect, right? Everybody's chasing metrics, right? So, like, if I was a kid nowadays, and I understand this is not sexy, but I would do the opposite. I would be a grinder, a baller, a guy that doesn't care about any of that stuff, right? And I think a big thing that I was very, very fortunate is I had a mentor, like a guy that I kind of like talked to a lot. And he helped me out a lot, like always talking to him. And, he was one of the guys that I would always go to because we always go through these lulls, right? Like, damn, man, like they're promoting this guy's getting better than me. This guy just passed me up, or they're obsessed with this prospect and all he does is this. And, so like for me, I really would focus on the mental game now because again, we talk about it with social media. Like you have to be mentally tougher. Like everybody puts their pants on the same way, right? Like nobody's a superhuman, like everybody's doing the same things. What's going to separate this next generation? And it's going to be the mental toughness. I just watched, Derek Jeter talking about, his progression through the minor leagues. And nobody knows this, but he was an awful defender his first year. Like he was terrible. They almost like passed, like they almost like were going to give up on him. But he ended up turning it around and doing everything that he had to do. And you need that hardship to get better. Like, and I think that's like a main thing. And I really like this saying: when everybody's zigging, you want to zag. When everybody's going
Ooh,
heavy towards metrics, I want to go the opposite way because this is how I'm going to stand out, right?
yeah,
Like if you want to be, I tell all my guys that I train, if you want to be one dimensional and focus on exit velocity, I'll find somebody better because there's always somebody bigger and stronger and faster and all that. But like you need to be able to, when everybody's zigging, when everybody's focused on this, I want you to be the best contact hitter possible. If everybody's focusing on power, I want you focusing on contact because that's going to be the separator, right?
it's
Like,
huge. It's huge, dude. I love it, bro. That so like I always struggled seeing everybody else be able to hit these home runs in batting practice, dude. Be able to like short hop the fence, right? Be able to just hit 100 miles plus in the cage off the tee. It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand it, dude. So like I tried to lock in on we talked about the controllables early on, dude, but the boring stuff, the vanilla stuff, getting the bunts down, dude, making sure that my hit and runs were crispy, dude, making sure I stayed off the top of the cage, dude, right? Making sure the bat path was nice. I wasn't dropping the barrel, all this stuff. Like I really felt like I did the boring stuff pretty well. And I felt like that was able to translate. We talked about that mastery in our careers, dude. I feel like that was able to translate at a maximum for me. You know what I mean? Dude, when you think about your climb, dude, right? We had similar careers, dude. You were propelled quickly through the twin system, dude. I felt like I was trying to like just chase up to you. You know what I mean? Like, dude, when you think about your climb, bro, what fundamentals were you absolutely obsessed with that others ignored? I know we talked about that mental game, dude, but like, what about like fundamental wise?
so I was probably, I mean, I don't want to sound cocky because I'm not a cocky person, but I think I was like the best bat to ball skills guy there was. Like I did not strike out. I was a tough out. I fouled off tough pitches. And an overrated thing is I had a really good eye, like I didn't chase the curveball that started for a strike and dipped down. Right. The only pitch that I really chased was the fastball up. Like
Mm,
that was like a killer for me. But like when the ball was down, I felt like I was the best player at taking that tough pitch. So when I'm able to do that, like that's where I was able to separate myself because you think about the game of hitting. If you pull up a chart of the counts, right, and you see like anytime there's like that extra strike comes into play, your batting average goes down tremendously. So it's got to be a way like where if you can go from that 1-1 count to make it a 2-1 count by not chasing rather than a 1-2 count, dude, your batting average is there's such a tremendous difference. So you got to be able to know the strike zone, right? And like it's so hard to explain to these kids that you're training because they're, the game is different now, right? So like, and these bats are different. So it's like you got to kind of find the way of like easing that in. But like to me, one of the biggest things was the strike zone. I made that 1-1 count, and if it wasn't there, I made it a 2-1 count. I wasn't going to chase out of the zone very often.
Huge, man. That's like that's a lost art, right? Everybody's throwing fuzz. Everybody's hitting the ball a million miles, bro. I get it. Lost art. It's huge. At the end of the day, the boring stuff wins. You know what I mean? And it just
Yeah,
like today, it just doesn't trend, which is crazy. And that's literally why we built Granite IQ, right, man? To show that next generation what the real fundamentals actually look like, taught by the guys who actually lived it, man. And it's important, dude. And I love talking about the fundamentals. It's huge, bro. Dude, having confidence in our ability, even if maybe we don't look like the ballers, even if maybe we don't put on like those guys, be able to hit the ball 400 plus feet and still have confidence in our ability as an underdog is crucial. It's important. And dude, sometimes because these fundamentals and being overlooked isn't sexy, dude, we can feel like less than a perfect athlete, bro.
yeah.
Zack, dude, I'd love to ask you, man, what that confidence like really looked like for you. For me, dude, I had to be locked in on my routine, and so like I know even if I wasn't playing, if I got my stuff done pregame, I was able to have confidence in any situation, dude. How were you able to remain confident as an underdog?
Uh, to me, I said the same thing to myself every single time I walked up to the plate, and it jacked me up every single time. And it was right man, right spot. Like if there was
Ooh.
nobody on, nobody out, like hey, perfect guy, get the inning going. Game's on the fucking line. Right man, right spot. Like I want this. Like everybody wants me up. I used to like I used to have to like mentally tell myself I'm the man all the time. Like I'm the fucking man. I'm the man. Let's go. Let's go right now. Lock it in. Right man, right spot. I never see. I wasn't a big like mechanics guy. Like I didn't care so much about the cage. I really didn't even go to and hit in the cage very often. Like I
Really?
wasn't like a big like cage guy. I like to hit on the field. My best years, I like barely went to the cage. I would literally just focus like about hitting on the field. That's all I really cared about. And if we didn't hit on the field, I didn't even hit in the cage. So like,
Seriously?
yeah, there was a lot where I raw dog games all the time. Like just my first swing of the day is like in the game. Like
That's trust, right?
my double A, triple, because to me it was all mental. Like am I going to go to the cage and like if I hit 6 line drives, is that going to make me hit in the game? Like the game is I could dominate in the cage, and that's what we have a lot of now is because guys are dominating in the cage, but it's not translating in the game. I hear it all the time. Oh, he's doing so
Ooh.
well here, and then he gets into the game and he's not doing as well. Well, because in here he knows there's no pressure, so he doesn't even have to lock it in. So you need to practice the mental game as well. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm dominating in the cage." Of course, I'm throwing it right down the freaking middle. If you can't hit this, you'll never be a good hitter. So the mental side is weak for a lot of these players. Where to me it was the opposite. I don't care about hitting in the cage. I care about producing on the field because I know at the end of the day, I don't care what your exit velocity is. If I hit 300 every year, I'm going to play in the show. That's just the bottom line, right? I think the year that me and you played in Double A in 2016, I was in the lead actually I actually blew it. I was leading the league in batting average, and then I ended up hitting like 290,
I
but
remember, bro.
which is still very very good. But I choked it at the end. I choked it bad.
Dude, you were
Doesn't
crushing that year, bro.
yeah. I had a fantastic year. I forgot who it might have been Tyler O'Neill on your team.
For batting average,
Yeah,
I don't think I think he hit a bunch of home runs that year. I don't think his average was
he
very
won
high.
MVP of the league though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was
Oh yeah.
nasty. Tyler O'Neill was nasty.
Dude, I think he hit like 30 plus that year as like he might have been a teenager still.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
That's
he was good.
wild, bro.
He was good. But I had that year. I hit 295 that year in the Southern League, which is extremely difficult to hit in. That's a tough league to hit in.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, it's to me that was like super impressive. And you could ask Doug Mankiewicz, like our field at Chattanooga, the cages were so bad. I was like, I don't even want to spend a second in here. Like I literally barely went to the cage. I don't even remember where the cage was in Chattanooga. Like I was
Dude,
just
it was
never in there
dumpy.
because I knew if I locked it in mentally, my game was going to be there. When I wasn't locked in mentally, or I struggled like my first at bat, or I was mentally like weak and like I'm upset and like like I knew like I'm gonna be in there for a long day. Like it might be an 0 for 4. But if I knew like, dude, I'm locked in, like I'm ready to go. First pitch, I saw beautiful. I'm like mentally mad and like I'm gonna rip somebody's head off. I knew I was gonna have a good game.
Huge, bro.
That's how confident I was, and it stayed with me my whole career. I really did. I was like too stupid to even realize, because I think personally I'm a believer, and this might sound funny, but I believe it. Good hitters are dumb hitters, right? Like you can't
Agreed,
overthink
bro.
too much. Like you have to be relaxed in the box. Like, dude, I'm just ready to freaking rip somebody's head off. Like that's all I really want. Like, and it might sound stupid, but like I was willing to like die on the field. Like that's how crazy I felt. Like
Love
I
it.
was willing to, like, bro, if you come at my head, like let's go. I don't care. Like I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to do anything on the baseball field, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, the guy on the mound was trying to steal from me. So I had to make sure that I was ready. Like I want to make this guy's life a living nightmare.
Mm. Ooh. So that's dude. That's big right there, man. Being able to remain confident, being able to remain consistent, and it's not all, dude. It's not all about like being loud, dude. We talk about being overlooked and trying to prove it to somebody, man. It's got nothing to do with being loud, man. I love the fact that you were still able to like remain confident and get after it in the game, even if you didn't hit in the cage. We know guys now that can't do that. They got to make sure they get everything in, dude. I talk about that like routine, dude. I was so dead set on that routine and stuck on that routine. Not that it was a crutch to me, but I didn't get any variability in that routine till later in my career when I started figuring that stuff out a little bit, dude. So like we've talked about the game changing a little bit, dude. The game might have changed, right? But the grind necessarily hasn't. So we know that if we want to be the best baseball player possible, dude, we have to develop a skill. We got to build those fundamentals, dude, and we have to develop that skill that is better or comparable than the dudes up there so we can take their spot away from them. So like development for me was extremely old school. Okay. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see any of this, obviously, like NIL, the social media type stuff, dude. The showcases were a little lower in stature back in my day, dude. So I really had to grind. I had to do a whole lot of legwork in order to send emails out, dude, in order to like just get in front of somebody in order to get on the map, bro. Dude, you see it with the players that you work with today, dude. Getting lessons, dude, working with the next generation, bro. If you were coming up in today's era of baseball, Zach, do you feel like you'd still make it?
Um, that's such a good question, right? And it really, really is. Um, I don't know, right? And the reason I say that is because speed still kills, right? Like, these kids are running 6.1s now, which if that was me and you, we'd probably be running 5.9s. Like,
Yeah,
like there's no way, right? So speed still is very good, right? And
agreed.
I think it might have even been better because I like. I don't like it's so hard to say because we didn't grow up with social media. We didn't see all these home runs. Like nowadays with these bats and these little fields and um I would like to say we still would have been good, but like I think we would have probably been focusing on the wrong things, players like me and you, where we're focusing on exit velocity, where exit velocity does not matter, right? Like me and you still would have had Division 1 talent, whether we decided to, you know, pursue that is it just to me it would have been a mental thing, right? Because you know I don't know. Is the 80-mile-an-hour exit velocity, or like would you take the 95 exit velocity or the 80 but does everything well?
Mm,
Like I don't know. I mean, we still would have produced. At the end of the day, we're ballers. Like we're going to
yeah,
produce. There's no doubt about that in my mind. I'm still confident to this day that that I could go out there and still produce. Right? Like that's just the person I am. Whether I can or I can't, I still believe that I can, which is
yeah.
half the battle. Like to
Amen.
me, I'm a very confident person when it comes to my game. I would never try to hit a home run. I never tried to hit a home run. The moment I did, I sucked. Right? Like
Same.
if you think about it, when I got called into the office and I was the last cut of spring training, and everybody always told me we want you to hit for more power. And my question to them was always, then why'd you take me? because you knew that wasn't my game, right? Like I would love to be Mike Trout. I would, dude. Mike Trout makes like 300 million. If I could hit for more power, that would be fantastic. But that wasn't my style of play, you know. And like I'm 170 pounds. The 170 pounds doesn't translate to hitting 50 homers.
Yeah.
I'd love to hit 50 homers, but you know, for my style of play, it's a little bit different. And I'm not blaming anybody, right? Like that's just the way the game ended up. But I think there needs to be a little bit more balance in the game. But I think we still would have made it because we have talent. We
Agreed,
have
dude.
talent. We're tough mentally.
100%. Dude, I mean, you hit on it there. It's like today's game with so many distractions, bro, so many things going on, so many moving parts, bro. Like I'm not even talking about necessarily pro ball right now. I mean, dude, look at all the rule changes and the transfer portals and all the stuff before you even get to the draft. You know what I mean? Like, dude, the mental discipline aspect of it, dude, the mental toughness aspect of it is, I think, now rarer more than ever, bro. And it comes into like play now more than ever, dude. So I agree with everything you're saying, bro.
Yeah,
Even if the speed aspect wouldn't be as sexy, I feel like that mental edge discipline, I mean, that's it, you know?
yeah, I mean, like I said, like if I had my mental checks and when I knew I was locked in, I was locked in. Like it wasn't going to be a cage session. It wasn't going to be somebody else telling me what to do. Like I had a really good coach, like we talked about, Doug Minkiewicz. He changed my career, and the reason he changed my career was he told me the way you're playing the game right now, you'll never play in the big leagues. So we had to work on things, right? I had to get my hands back a little bit more, and it helped me create more space so that I could drive through the baseball a little bit better. Me squaring the baseball up better allowed me to hit the ball harder, right? So we're focusing on exit velocity. Guys are all focusing on exit velocity, where if you can stay through the ball, if you have a cleaner swing, that's going to lead to a better exit velocity. So guys are focusing on something you're just trying to swing harder, and when you do that, your mechanics break down. Learn how to swing the
Ooh.
right way, and that's where you're going to see the results, right? Like you can't be going for the pot of gold, right? You got to figure out like how to get that without having to search for it.
Mm. Which is huge, bro. Ooh, which is huge. I mean, dude, that's kind of mind blowing me right there. You know what I mean? That's
Well,
something I
it's the
struggled with.
truth. I don't lie.
Dude, I struggled so bad with that, dude. Hitting the ball harder, hitting the ball farther, dude. I try to overswing. The mechanics would just unravel, dude. It'd be absolutely gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I love Doug, is because he kind of made it for me. You know, he kind of was like, he's not like, oh, you know, like do this. He was like, dude, like you're getting your hands here. Like we broke down video, and he was like, dude, if you could just get a little bit more here, it's gonna clean up your path a little bit, and you're gonna take off. And you know, like for me, it was, hey, he's like, you got to move the outfielders back because they don't respect you. So I had to learn how to move the outfielders back to give me that extra step, so I could bloop a ball in there.
Yeah.
Right, so like now I'm playing. He goes, Zach, if you can learn how to move the outfielders back, you just became the most dangerous player on the field. Right? Think about that, because now I can bunt, I can slap the ball, I can bloop one in, and I can drive one over your head. Where do you play me? You
It's a
can't.
coin flip,
Exactly. You got to get lucky. Right? So like now I became the most dangerous player on the field without having really to do much. You know,
which
just by
is,
getting
dude,
my hands back a little bit more, feeling that little extra stretch. That's all Doug did for me. But it's basic stuff. It wasn't like Doug wasn't like, you know, trying to get me to do anything like that. It was like, dude, same swing, just get your hands back a little bit more. So that's what I do with my lessons. Like we don't really focus on stuff like that. We focus more on like getting ourselves in a better position to hit. You know, like keep it simple, bro, because there's a ball coming at you. If you're worried about where your hands are, you're not worried about hitting the baseball. And at the end of the day, you got to compete. You got to put yourself in a position where, dude, I'm going to beat you. And if you don't put yourself in that position, I don't care how good you are. Like you have to be willing to take somebody's lunch money. You got to be willing to be a bully on the field. If you're not willing to do that, you'll never make it.
100%, dude. Especially not as an underdog, dude.
No.
Especially not as somebody who's on the outside looking in, a fourth outfielder, or the dude that's just like maybe the 9-hole hitter or on the bench, like trying to get in the lineup. You know what I mean, dude? You got to be foaming at the mouth for that opportunity.
And let's be real. Me and you, we got drafted in the same round. We were roster fillers. We got drafted to fill the roster so that the first and the second rounders could play. You need a team to play. But we forced our way through, right? There was nobody. We weren't handed a couple $1 million. Hey, let's see what you can do. You can struggle and all that. We weren't rewarded with that opportunity, right? But think about it. Me and you, we had one shot, right? And we made the most of our opportunity. Majority of the world is like that. You have one chance. Don't fuck it up. You have to be
That's
able to
right.
perform when your name is called. Like me and you both played in the big leagues, dude. Right? Like we were good enough to get there. Me and you both could have played better, and we both probably would have stayed. It is what it is, right? Like fair opportunity or not, pinch hitting, and then like it is what it is. If you were batting
That's
a
right.
thousand, or if we were batting 500, they're not calling us. They're not sending us down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like at the end of the day, and it's damn hard to hit in the big leagues. I'm not saying that. Like it's the hardest thing to do in the world. So, but like there was opportunities there for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, at the end of the day, bro, like you said, if you don't like it, play
Play
better.
better.
You know,
If you don't
you
like it,
can
play
control
better.
that, I guess,
Best thing in the world. It's the best saying in the world. If you don't like it, play better. Because if
Yeah.
it's the truth. No, nobody's hitting 300. He's not good enough. Get him out. No, nobody does
Yeah.
that because
You're
nobody's hitting 300. Because nobody's hitting 300. If you're hitting 300, you're in the big leagues.
That's right, bro. You're not sitting hitting 300 unless you have a team of people hitting 400. And nobody's got a team of people hitting 400.
There
You
was
know what I
like
mean?
8, 9 guys in the big leagues that hit 300 this year, right? But again,
Crazy.
I'm a big believer in the pendulum will swing back,
Yeah.
right? Like, look at the Blue Jays right now, and I love the Blue Jays. I've been following them, and because Don Mattingly, Yankee great. I grew up a big Yankee fan. Obviously, didn't get a chance to see him a ton, but you know, they put the ball in play the most throughout the regular season. The team that has put the ball in play the most is in the World Series, guys. Like when everybody's zigging, you got to zag. You want to look for
Ooh,
power? Be my guest. I'm going to look for guys that can put the ball in play,
I love that, dude.
create
I love
value.
that. I mean, dude, the game changes, but I mean, the truth never does. You know what I mean? The stuff that wins, at the end of the day, I mean, that stuff never does, dude. Zach, dude, this has been awesome, bro. I got one last question for you, dude. So we've been kind of reflecting a little bit on the underdog career, the stuff that I mean we needed to do in order to separate and get to the big leagues and realize that dream, bro. If you could give one message to the next Zack Granite, bro, what would that be and why?
One message. I would say don't listen to anybody, right? And I say that in the nicest way possible because everybody's always trying to put your hands on you, right? But like you could only be the best version of yourself, right? There's guys that are going to tell you, hey, we want you to do this and this and this, but if you try to get away from your game, you will struggle, right? If you try to do stuff all the time that you're not good at, you're going to struggle. So you have to be the best version of yourself. And that's when you're going to play the best. Right? And
Ooh,
and that's what I did probably through 90% of my career. I never tried to come off of who I was. Right? Like I made it to the major leagues. I tell this to every single guy I train and is obsessed with power. I didn't hit a single home run in college. Think about that. Metal
that's
bats, never hit a home run in college, and I made it to the major leagues. So but like my game was so valuable because nobody was trying to do what I was doing. Everybody else was trying to leave the yard. Like I'll let everybody else go look for the pot of gold, right? I'll just pick up the couple of pieces that are on the floor, right? Because at
yeah,
the end of the day, again, I'll go back to this. We could talk about metrics till we're blue in the face. The only way you win baseball games is by scoring more runs than the other teams. And you provide value in two ways. You score runs or you drive runners in. That's it.
mm,
That's
yeah,
it. Keep it that's a sim. We can talk about WRC plus and OBP plus and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, you have to score runs. So if you score runs, you're going to be good, right? You need good pitching and you need to be able to score runs or produce runs. That's it. That's baseball.
W W, bro. Appreciate that, Zach. Dude. I appreciate the time, dude. If you're listening right now and you feel like nobody's watching, man, good. That's where all the best players are built, man. In the vanilla reps, the boring stuff, the shit behind the scenes that nobody's watching, man. Zach Granite, didn't wait to be discovered, man. He built himself brick by brick. Zach, I appreciate you being here, brother. I appreciate you diving into the story, man. Looking forward to having you back on again soon.
No, let's roll, dude. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolute, man. Absolute. And if you guys want to build your own foundation, excuse me, let me fucking redo that. And if you guys want to build your own foundation, start where it matters, your fundamentals. Check out GraniteIQ Fundamentals. Link is in the description. Learn how to do the boring stuff like a big leaguer. Appreciate you guys being here. Keep grinding. Sick.